What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J Cal, and each and every Tuesday, I'm here to join you, the NWA family, to talk NWA here at the pre-party, the hour before Power Too Sweet to be sour. I'm not going to rip off the rest of that line. You know where it's from. What's up, guys? This is the pre-party. I'm J Cal. All my pals are here. I see in the chat already Bobby Petito, Sean Mega, Big Dodi Kumatsu. Did I say that wrong? Dodi, how do you say your last name? Devin Dowling's in the house. The great Hisa's in the house. I see Rick Del Santo, your guy from the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast. Matthew Underwood, you guys, man, you guys come out in full force, and I do appreciate that. This, again, is the pre-party. We're here to talk NWA. Tonight, we're getting some fresh content right off the hot press from POWERRR TRIP, the third time that the National Wrestling Alliance has made its way out to Oak Grove, Kentucky at the Valor Hall, where they had, by any means necessary, POWERRR TRIP, and now the much anticipated sequel, POWERRR TRIP to Electric Boogaloo. I know you're all excited about that. If you haven't had a chance yet, after Power tonight, head back over here to this YouTube page and check out the interview I did with Chance Prophet. We did a lot of NWA talk from the past, from around 2000 to 2012. I really think you guys will get a kick out of it. I hope you will check that out. It was a lot of fun talking to my pal Chance. A lot of great information. I see a lot of your guys' comments, and we'll not stand on ceremony here at the Alliance blog. No, we talk to you. Your voice will be heard. So first I say Bobby Petito, Sean Mega, Dodi, what's up, guys? How you doing? The great Hisa says, Konnichiwa, Ichiban, numero uno. I know that's not right, but whatever. Devin's in the house. What's going on, Devin? Dave Scooby says, like and share. Yeah, guys, guess what? The big news out of the week has nothing to do with the NWA and everything to do with this channel right here, as we have surpassed 1,000 subscribers. Woo! Bells, whistle, ding, 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 ding. Actually, I'm being silly, but if I could be completely honest and humble for a minute, this doesn't happen without many of you contributing to not only the promotion of getting this podcast to 1,000 subscribers. I mean, gosh, besides you guys being here each and every week, which is all I could ever really ask, I'm so grateful for that. And it's humbling that you've been a part of this ride now for about 4 years. But to hit that 1K means that a lot of people behind the scenes have been helping to push this narrative, push this podcast. I'm talking about Dave Scooby. I'm talking Tim from NWA Gold, Rick Del Santo from the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast, Gary Horn from This Is Pro Wrestling, Will Martin from This Is Pro Wrestling, also the NWA. Gosh, who else has been around with us, helped us get to this next level? I don't want to forget Jeremy from Wrestling with MMA. He's been very helpful in getting us here. Of course, DKM, Jaden, Kevin Frazier all have played their roles in getting us to this moment. So yeah, man, it's super exciting. Whew. It's very humbling. You guys mean a lot to me, and I think more than you actually genuinely know. This community has been 14 years in the making, but we finally are here. Our voices are being heard. We are championing the NWA, both pro and con, sometimes to the chagrin of the National Wrestling Alliance, but nevertheless, we always give you our God-honest opinion. We're facts. Our facts are genuine, but so are our opinions. So anyways, thank you guys again from the bottom of my heart. Next week, we're going to punch some numbers, and we're going to draw a winner. Tim will join me here on this very episode, not this episode, but next week's episode of the pre-party, and we will draw a winner from the thousands who have subscribed. Now, obviously, some names won't be available, so your chances of being drawn are even better than what you really think, because out of the 1,000 that are actually subscribed, there's maybe 10 people who are clearly not eligible to win this prize because they all live in my house. But shh, don't tell anybody that. Yeah, again, kudos to you guys. I've heard a lot of congratulations and thank yous, and I do appreciate that. But that just means that this community, our voice is being heard. We are the Alliance, and we do this together. So thank you guys. All right, I didn't cry, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Bobby Batito says, I like Homicide's match against Black G's for the Junior Heavyweight Championship on NWA USA. I didn't see it yet, Bobby. I don't ever typically get to watch the show until Wednesday or Thursday at the earliest, or latest, I should say. So I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Devin Dowling says Scooby should be the head promotion for the Alliance. Scooby, man, that dude is great. Not only does he represent the Alliance when he goes to wrestling shows, but he's just a great dude. I hope someday that I can return the favor, and when he gets to podcasting, we could have him on and help grow his audience the way that he's helped grow mine. Sean Mega says Homicide is having a historic run in front of our eyes. Yeah, man. Let's not sleep on Homicide. He's had a lot of title defenses in a very short amount of time. He's taken on some of the best in pro wrestling today, and I don't see any stopping for him at the current climate, but things could obviously change. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Devin. I do appreciate that. Whoa, Sean. So you are the other listener. This podcast, before we were on YouTube, before we were on Anchor, we were on this little app called Blog Talk Radio. Some of those episodes are actually still in existence, and every once in a while I'll grab one of the old files I have and I'll put it up on our podcasting partners like Spotify or Amazon or Apple. You could check those out, Stitcher, any of those places. But yeah, us being back on Blog Talk Radio, that's old school. So that just goes to show you that Sean Mega has excellent tastes and has been around for a long time. Bobby says, I'm looking forward to watching Natalia Markova versus Taya Valkyrie at the pay-per-view. I mean, that match is going to slap. Natalia Markova has shown that she's a beast in the NWA. I don't think people quite understand just how good she is. I really feel like they gave her the shit end of the stick when Kylan King went over in her debut match. But since then, it's been all nothing but Natalia Markova. I mean, I know she did take a loss to Mickie James, but it's Mickie James for crying out loud. There's no loss there. Thanks, Issa, for the congratulations. Matt Underwood says, what I've been saying about Tyrus in the booth for months, immense improvement. Best since Stu Bennett left. Could this be a move for the networks? Joe, Tyrus, and William. I think you meant to say William Patrick Corgan. But yeah, I agree, man. I think Tyrus is super valuable to the NWA in the announce booth. But I don't know if that guy is ready to hang up the boots. And the last thing you want to, for my opinion, is a guy who's going to bounce back and forth from the booth to the ring. I mean, we already had Tim Storm doing that, and now we don't even have Tim Storm doing wrestling or announcing. So it's kind of difficult. But I would like to, I'm hoping to see more. But as of right now, I think Tyrus is the guy that's going to be best for them in that position, because Stu Bennett isn't coming back. We're not going to see him anytime soon. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of simple as that. More of your comments. Devin Dowling says he's pumped for Scion and Joe Alonzo tonight. Yeah, I look, that was one of the matches that was advertised that I did not see a graphic for. Wait, did I get one? Yeah, I did get one, because your boy Jay's on top of it kind of sometimes. Yeah, I mean, Scion versus Alonzo. I have no ideas about Alonzo. I don't know where he comes from. I don't know who he is. I haven't done my research on him, so unfortunately I don't have a whole lot to tell you about this guy. I wish I did. But we know who Scion is. He's the masked mystery man. He's the alleged son of a former NWA champion. So many people are believing that champion is Austin Idol. It works for the storyline purpose, but it's kind of a letdown when that's the big surprise for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then they kind of set it, and then they backtrack, and then we have no idea what's going on. I personally believe that they could have done something better with this. Who knows what's going to happen? That's the thing too. Like Scion was being like primed to be the next TV champion, and now it doesn't even feel like that is an option, right? It looks like Mims is the guy that's going to take that belt, at least to me anyway. So I don't know. I can't get too behind Scion as it is. I feel like he's the antithesis of the question mark, and I feel like they don't know what to do with him. More of your comments. Dodie says, Tyrus, drop the TV title to Mims and transition to the commentator booth. That will be a good idea. I agree, Dodie. I don't see a better place for him, honestly. A guy like Tyrus, right? You just don't know how much longer he wants to go for. Delusion is a wondrous thing. I don't know if he steps in that ring and goes, yeah, that was a hell of a match. I did a great job. Or if he's like us and knows like, hey, man, I'm not as fast as I used to be. It's harder for me to get up in that ring. It's harder for me to perform in that ring. I could still be involved. I just don't have to actually wrestle. I don't have to take bumps anymore. And if he comes to that conclusion, he would be a terrific addition to the commentary booth. Bobby Batito says, I'm looking forward to watching Max the Impaler wrestle tonight. Yeah, they should be very interesting. Max the Impaler. I mean, as I wrote about this in the preview for the podcast, Max the Impaler is still listed in the Ring of Honor roster. And I know that's just because they haven't really gotten around to updating the website yet, but they have no home. And if this is the audition for a new home, I mean, Max the Impaler would be a very, very different and unique talent for the NWA, something that they've never had before. Your non-binary worst nightmare is what they go by, but I mean, it's just something completely different. And at 5'10" and 210 pounds, she's pretty big. I don't know if she's that much bigger than Camille or that much bigger than Genocide, but they are a big talent for the NWA, and it would be interesting how they would use them. Dodie says NWA Natalia should be elevated to beyond Miss NWA USA. I do agree with that too, Dodie. I feel like, especially now, like she's getting opportunities to go wrestle for AAA in Mexico. I don't know how much longer you're going to have Natalia around. And I feel like I'm not saying she needed to be world's champion, but I certainly could have had a program with Camille, and I think that would have done well for the company. But we'll have to just wait and see, I guess. Sean Mega wants to know, is Scion going to turn heel at the pay-per-view? I mean, what capacity is he in at the pay-per-view? I mean, if you look at the matches, right? Who is Scion even in the ring with at the pay-per-view? Maybe he's teaming with Kazana. I don't see what match he has at the pay-per-view. Is he even going to be there? That's the question. That's how far he's fallen from the tree. Let's see. More comments. Bobby Batito says, I like Harry Smith. What's not to like about Harry Smith? That dude is a third-generation wrestler. He's a multi-time NWA World Tag Team Champion. He won those titles with Lance Archer back when they were in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is a legitimate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what do you call that, an artist? He's an MMA artist. He's a mixed martial artist. There we go. We'd get there eventually. And despite all that, WWE didn't find a way to use him. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You don't hear AEW calling him. Impact, for whatever reason, hasn't called him. I'm not saying that this is his only spot, but good Lord, if the NWA can't figure out how to use Harry Smith, then they could just get in line with everyone else, apparently. But man, that guy is built like a beast. His promos are fine. He looks like $1 million. He's got the legacy. I mean, he's not Nick Aldis on the mic. He's not the Pope on the mic. But if you can't make money with Harry Smith, then you probably should just get out of the business. At least that's how I feel. Bobby Petito says Joe Alonzo has wrestled on AEW Dark before around 2020. That's cool. I'm not familiar with them, but we'll see tonight. You know, I'll get a taste firsthand of his debut on NWA Powers. A couple debuts as the aforementioned Ella Envy and Max the Impaler. Clearwater should be the next TV champ. Matthew Underwood, from your lips to the wrestling god's ears. Was it Luthez? Would he be our wrestling god? Jordan Clearwater is so very underrated. He just won the United Wrestling Network World Championship. Now, this is an interesting time for the NWA because I don't know exactly how this will impact Jordan Clearwater in the NWA. We know for certain that there is no love lost between the United Wrestling Network and the National Wrestling Alliance. I don't see that either promotion working together anytime soon, but they do share some of the same talents. I mean, Aaron Stevens works behind the scenes at Championship Wrestling. Jordan Clearwater, again, won the Red Carpet Rumble and is now your current United Wrestling Network World Champion. Before then, they were using Slice Boogie, who had wrestled for United Wrestling Network. Joe Galley had spent many years with the United Wrestling Network. So did I can't remember his name right now. The director for the show, Billy Trask, also used to work in Hollywood. Hebon used to work in Hollywood too. So there's been a lot of Hebon is the ringside photographer. There's a lot of crossover between the two promotions. Captain Yuma used to be one of the head bookers for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So there has been a lot of crossover between the two promotions, but I don't think you're going to see a lot more of that going forward. But Clearwater is an interesting cat. If the NWA decides to take a shot at the United Wrestling Network, we'll know right away. And you know, if they were smart, they would use this opportunity as him being elevated outside of the NWA to potentially elevate him within the NWA, make his reign, make his future in the NWA even brighter by starting to put those accolades on him now. Matthew Underwood says, did you see Eli Drake has another gimmick change in the Fed? Yeah, you know, that's a thing about Sean Ricker, Eli Drake, LA Knight, Max Dupree, whatever they want to call him, that guy continues to get over. Famously, they talked about when Vince McMahon signed Dusty Rhodes, he gave him the most awful gimmick he could possibly give him because he didn't think he'd get over. And he did. And I don't know if that's what the WWE management is doing with Eli Drake, LA Knight, Max Dupree. I don't know what the goal is with him. He's a terribly underutilized talent in the WWE. He has survived many of these fire-offs and contracted talent being let go of. So we'll have to wait and see. I still hope he gets a decent run in the WWE. I don't know how much longer they can wait for that. Devin Dowling says Joe Alonzo has mainly been in Texas or New York. Indie scene, takes big risks, runs his mouth, and is pretty quick. Similar size to Sammy Guevara. Well, that's okay. To me, you're selling me on the guy. So I can't wait to see what he brings to tonight. Paladin says, when I see Tyrus in the ring, it reminded me of Andre the Giant's last match in Japan. The guy could barely stand up straight without help. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't think that Tyrus looks great in the ring. I don't think his entire run in the NWA has looked great. He is great on the microphone. He is very talented. His energy in that booth was so refreshing. And he was even able to bring back Austin Idol from those weird, tangents, he was able to bring it back in and reel him back in to make it a serviceable commentary. Galley and Tyrus, I think, would be a very good working relationship. Bobby Petito says he likes the match between Sandra Moon versus Viva Van. I'm thinking you're talking about United Wrestling Network. Sandra Moon impressed the heck out of me with her match with Reka Taka, who's now wrestling for the Women of Wrestling. I think Sandra Moon has a huge upside. She's young. I think she just turned 21, so she's another one of these very young talents that has a ton of upside. Ton of upside. Matthew Underwood says, is Stevens working all of us? And I maybe. I know a couple weeks ago he tweeted famously like he felt underutilized in the NWA. And, if he's not happy, of course, go get happy. That's what I always say. Life's too short to stick around for a place that doesn't appreciate you. But from everything I've ever heard, he was really happy there. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it's not. He's a very talented guy. I feel like he's had a run with the tag titles. He had a run at the national championship, and now they've got really nothing for him. So I don't know. I mean, at what point does he become a gateway talent? Does he, start working with more greenhorns? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but I know that the question mark and Aaron Stevens was fun for me as a wrestling fan. I don't really see Aaron Stevens and Kratos as being nearly as fun, and what's been going on lately I think it's already past its prime. It's time to try something different or just move on completely. And then Sean Mega said MLW did a great job with Harry Smith. Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. He looked good in MLW. Man, if he was still there, could you imagine the matches between him and Hammerstone? It'd been killer. And then Sean Mega also talks about by helping Tyrus, saying Scion might help Tyrus. I mean, that's a good answer. If he's under the thumb of Austin Idol, then you would apparently think he would be there to help Idol Mania Sports Management. We just have to wait. Dave Scooby said Markova just wrestled for AAA. Okay, so I knew she had some opportunities. I didn't know they already happened working in AAA. And that's great for her. Steel sharpens steel. We say it all the time, but you look at some of these talents and where they've come from, where they were. Kenzie Paige, when she stepped into the NWA ring, I don't want to say she was bad, but she certainly wasn't as good as she is now. I think she would even admit to that. And it's not a bad thing. It's just she's gotten better. And that's good. You get in a ring with somebody who's better than you, and you grow, you get better. And this is the test of time. This will stand true. That if you are not good at something, you get with somebody who is, and you guys get better together. More comments. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see more Rhett Titus. Me too, man. Rhett Titus is great. I consider him right now part of the NWA, and I hope he continues to be so. Bobby Petito also says that Rodney Mack tag team with Brett Buffshay versus Alex Taylor and Jeremiah Plunkett last Saturday on NWA. Yeah, I didn't catch it. Like I said, I'll probably catch it tomorrow. I'll be sure to give you my thoughts on that on Thursday. Devin's taking off. Go enjoy, my friend. Thank you for being here for the first part of the show. Go get those kids and coach them up. Dodie says Kenzie Paige should be elevated beyond Jobber of Champions. That's a fair thing to say. I mean, she's had some pretty good matches. I really feel like that feud with her and Natalia Markova has helped to make her a better performer overall. And we'll see. I mean, who knows? They're getting a second crack at the Hex at the pay-per-view. And I'm not saying you just change a title to change a title, but the Hex have really, there's not a lot of momentum for the women's tag team right now. And maybe a shift in champions might change that. Again, I don't think you're supposed to book based on trends, but there's not a whole lot going on with the women's tag team division as it is right now. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see. Jeremy's here. Jeremy, you missed me put you over in the first few minutes of the show. Dodie says, or just find another challenger rather than put her forever. I agree. Again, last week wasn't billed as a women's tag team match. I think they just They made it into a title match. It didn't seem like it made a whole lot of sense considering Maddie Renkowski and Kenzie Paige have never teamed before. They've never teamed anywhere before. And they just, we'll make it a title match. That stuff is stupid to me. If you don't have enough actual competitors for the titles, then just let them go dormant. We don't need to have that division if you don't have enough talents to fill that division. There are plenty of women on the roster, plenty of them that could work as tag teams. Let's focus on that. What happened to Kylie Ray? What happened to the Little Blue Dragon? What happened to Misa Kate? What happened to any one of the gals who came up from Mission Pro? A lot of these women could work very well together and be, made into tag teams if needed. So far, they haven't done any of that. Matthew Underwood says Steven should have an interview segment a la Piper, Miz, etc. Oh, yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. And then also Matthew is seconding the love for the Hart Foundation and MLW with Teddy and Pillman Jr. and Harry. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really following MLW then. I know Teddy Hart has a hard time staying out of jail. And, he has his own set of issues to deal with. But I don't know, man. I really feel like Harry Smith is entirely underutilized and would be good in almost any role, any capacity, put him in. Bobby Batista says, who will be wrestling against Homicide for the junior heavyweight title at Always Ready? Well, that's the thing, right, Bobby? I'm not saying that I know the answers, and I'm not saying this is even true, but none of the results have been released from POWERRR Trip 2. Do we even know that Homicide is still champion? Is he? Do we know that? I mean, because I don't. Maybe Colby's a champ. Who's Colby wrestling against at the pay-per-view? Let's see. Colby takes on... I don't see Colby on the poster. Huh. Imagine that. Homicide's not on the posters. Colby's not on the posters. Imagine that. Matthew Underwood says the Heck should be involved in singles feuds until the division is improved. Allison Kay is fire on the mic. When Allison Kay became world champion, I was very excited, and I often compared her to a female version of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really felt like she could have been the anti-hero that the NWA women's division needed. But lo and behold, on episode 2 of Power, we were introduced to this talent who, somehow, some way just galvanized the entire fan base in the NWA and really just stole everyone's hearts and imagination. And I'm talking about Thunder Rosa. I really feel like had Thunder Rosa never come to the NWA, we'd still be talking about Allison Kay and Camille in that 10-pound, or excuse me, the Burke, and that discussion of who would be the better champion or who's had the better reign. Allison Kay is great, but Thunder Rosa was electric. I would like to see Allison Kay enter back into the women's singles division. Bobby Batista said, I'd like to see Blonde Force Trauma, Heather Monroe, and Raylan wrestle in the NWA. Look, both of those ladies are phenomenal talents as well. I've told you guys in the past, I was there when Heather Monroe wrestled in China. She wrestled against former women's champion. What's her name? I can't remember right now. Barbie. Well, brain's not working today. The brain said no brain today. And their match was terrific. And, that was at a time where the NWA women's division wasn't really up and going yet. And I felt like either one of them would have been a great challenge to the women's division as it grew further. Monroe had an opportunity against Jazz. I think she even had a match against Thunder Rosa, too, in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Barbie Hayden, that was the name I was looking for. Good job, Bobby. Good pull. But for whatever reason, the NWA hasn't shown any interest, at least hasn't. Maybe they have. We don't know about it. Maybe they haven't come to an agreement yet. But, yeah, I agree. I think they're very talented. They make a lot of sense because they are a women's tag team, but also at the same time, there isn't a huge emphasis on the tag team division as it is. So maybe until that becomes a bigger emphasis, the NWA won't need it. More comments. Bobby says, I'm looking forward to watching Ella Envy have a singles match in the NWA tonight. Yeah, she makes her power debut. She's only been in the NWA for one pay-per-view. She was the partner of Kenzie Paige. Kind of corrupted Kenzie Paige, right? Because at the pay-per-view, you had a very different Kenzie Paige presented to us than what we get from USA or Power, where USA and Power, she's very much the babyface, but at the pay-per-view, at the Crockett Cup, she was really healing it up with Ella Envy. So we'll see what happens when they lock up again with the pay-per-view, but it'll be good to see Ella Envy in her matchup tonight, see what she can do. Wrestling with the MMA says Thunder Rosa is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Paladin says Thunder Rosa is the AEW female champion. Yeah, Paladin, I'm very familiar. Thunder Rosa is one of those talents that I don't think anybody can just ignore. She won't allow you to it. She's too entertaining. She's too good at what she does. She's been on this podcast before, and we had a great conversation with her. Mission Pro benefits from her. AEW benefits from her, and the NWA certainly benefited from having her part of the program. Doty said he heard Kylie Ray's contract in the NWA is actually ended early this year, and he hopes the NWA can still bring her in again because finally the chemistry with her and Tootie Lynn. Kylie Ray did like almost everything they asked her to, and she did a great job of helping the other talents look good. I know she did have a few issues with her mental health and her addiction issues from the past. She had to be very careful with that, and I can respect that and I can commend that. But it also makes it hard when you're booking pro wrestling when you don't know if your talent is going to be available or not. And I know it's a very sensitive issue, and I'm not trying to make light of it at all. I wish nothing but the best for Kylie Ray. I hope she gets everything straightened out and can continue to have a great career in pro wrestling. I'd like to see more out of her as well, but with mental illness and so many variables that have been thrown her way, I just hope she is feeling good and having a good day. Bobby Petito brings up Christy Janes. Yeah, Christy Janes is great too. She was in the NWA for a handful of matches. Would definitely like to see more of her in the future. Paladin says Kylie Ray is undependable. I get that, and I'm not trying to ignore that. It's just a very difficult situation. And Willie Bowen says Genocide should squash Chelsea Green. I haven't seen a poster for that match yet either, but Genocide certainly has. I think she's available for that pay-per-view, and I do believe that Always Ready, because it's themed after the world champion. I believe his beautiful bride would be there as well. So I'm feeling like that might be pretty. That match could happen very much. Bobby Petito says he likes MJ Jenkins. Yeah, she did a great job. I was very surprised by her. I know she is mostly a product of the WWE farm system, but man, another missed opportunity, I think, for the E when it comes to some of these up-and-coming talents. Whew. I think I got to all your comments. Again, if you haven't done so yet, check out the interview I did with Chance Prophet from yesterday. We talked about all things, including his run as national champion, not once, but twice. His time with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, the time when he was at the NWA house in San Bernardino, California, and being in the locker room with Vader. And Vader was not too happy with him. You should go check it out and listen. It's a lot of fun stories. So I hope you guys will check that out. So again, tonight's episode of Power, I thought I had more of the graphics and I guess I don't. So we'll just go with what we have, right? The big event tonight, we see photos of course, Harry Smith. Him and Mike Knox will go one-on-one. We've got Scion and his match against we'll just go to the card, Alonzo. And you guys said that a lot of you have already vouched for Alonzo, so I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. But we do know what we have in Scion. So this matchup, Scion needs to bounce back. Again, we were talking earlier in the show about where is he at now? I mean, what what is his what is his I guess the word I'm looking for is, where does he go from here? What's left for him? Because at this point, he's tried the television championship and has failed. He keeps making overtures at Jack Stane in the national championship, and just at this point in time, he's not at that level. And if he were to pursue Jack Stane and lose again, I don't know what that does for his ability to stay in the NWA. Those are two huge swings and two huge misses. Of course, that's just me fantasy booking it. Who knows? Maybe he does step in the ring with Jack Stane and becomes national champion. Maybe that's the long-term booking for Mr. Scion. But, I feel like they haven't really done a great job establishing a whole lot about Scion, except for the fact that his father was a former champion and he wants to be a champion. I guess that should be enough, but I just feel like they're missing the ball on that. I don't feel like they've done enough to develop that character to make me even care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like they've done enough to make me care if Scion wins a title or not. I think at this point, he needs to go back to the drawing board and just start putting up some wins and losses. Well, no losses, but some wins in that win-loss column. The other match we were talking about earlier is Max the Impaler. They identify as the non-binary. Well, I messed up because now I don't remember what it was. They call themselves the non-binary nightmare. Yeah, got it. Nailed it. Of course, Max the Impaler, if you're familiar with her work in Ring of Honor, I imagine we're going to see a lot more of that too. Ella Envy, I think, is literally being sacrificed to the wrestling gods tonight, which is a shame because hopefully she'll be okay in time for her tag team title match at Always Ready with Kenzie Paige. But again, this is a matchup that I think on paper doesn't really look good for Ella Envy, but we'll see what she brings to the table tonight in a singles run. Another match that was advertised was Captain YUMA. We haven't seen Captain YUMA since the Crockett Cup, and Captain YUMA returns to the NWA to take on Trevor Murdoch. Now, we know Trevor Murdoch has been in a different time and place ever since he's lost the World's Heavyweight Championship. He feels like the fans have betrayed him. They feel like they don't care anymore. Nobody checked on him when he was down. Nick Aldis didn't even wait for his body to be, ushered out of the ringside area before he was coming out challenging for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Trevor Murdoch never got even a freaking rematch for that World's Heavyweight Championship. So he obviously has a lot of reason to be upset. He has a lot of reason to be filled with piss and vinegar and all kinds of ire. And then you got Captain YUMA. Captain YUMA came to the NWA and formed the Ill-Begotten, and then was ushered out of the Ill-Begotten by our pal Jeremiah Plunkett. And the thing about it is, Plunky might have done Captain YUMA a favor. It seems like, the Ill-Begotten is on a path that maybe Captain YUMA wasn't interested in going down, but we haven't seen him at all. And so his first match back is against somebody who I don't think I'd ever want to step into the ring with, especially not on his bad days. That will probably be the kickoff match of this episode of Power. And then, of course, funeral arrangements for Mr. YUMA will be held promptly after the taping. It's kind of sad because, again, Captain YUMA, I know personally my daughter was a huge Captain YUMA fan going back to his days with Kevin Martinson, or as he was known back then as Johnny Goodtime, Johnny YUMA, Johnny Goodtime, the Rockness Monsters. And they were a fun tag team, but it's not in the cards for them to be a tag team in the NWA. And unfortunately, Captain YUMA hasn't really found his role within the NWA. It's, again, a shame, because I think if you're appealing to a family audience, that's the kind of guy I'd rather have on camera than some of the other characters you'll see. Then also we have that continuation of the saga of the Cardonas and the Aldis family. This is very much like Romeo and Juliet here, the Capulets and the Montagues. This family will never get along. It was soured. The relationship soured when Chelsea Green turned on Mickie James and TNA. But one of the things that it does kind of get me about this feud, and this is where like I don't understand the NWA sometimes. I feel like you're painting with such a broad stroke, and if you only watch the NWA, you really don't know about what's happened outside of the NWA. If you do not watch Impact Wrestling, you don't know about the souring of the relationship between Chelsea Green and Mickie James. We don't know about Matt Cardona putting his hands on Mickie James. That's something that happened outside of the NWA's realm. That happened in Impact. Now we know Impact, Mickie James works for Impact, Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona all work for Impact. Nick Aldis is a former Impact World Champion. But we're in the NWA. And I don't like the fact that this storyline has kind of spilled over without intentionally spilling over. And they don't really acknowledge it by the NWA. They don't talk about, hey, this happened in Impact. That we're just supposed to assume that we know that. When Nick Aldis says on a promo, hey, you put your hands on my wife. Well, that didn't happen in Power. It didn't happen at the Crockett Cup. It happened at Impact. So that kind of bothers me, but nevertheless, I get what they're approaching. I get what they're trying to do here is they're trying to build this dynamic of Nick Aldis and his wife Mickie James, his dear friend Doug Williams, and somehow, some way, Harry Smith got thrown into all that. Against the Cardonas, who are growing because now we have Brian Myers, who has entered the NWA venue with Chelsea Green and Mike Knox and VSK. What this all comes down to is a power struggle. Who's going to walk away and Always Ready as World's Heavyweight Champion? But in order to get there, you have to tell that story. And that story kicked off at Crockett Cup when the Commonwealth Connection came to the aid of Nick Aldis during the World's Heavyweight title match. Now, again, we can go back in time and again, the Impact effect, right? We know that Doug Williams and Nick Aldis tag teamed in Impact as the British Invasion. In fact, they won the Impact titles. I believe they also won the IWGP tag titles. I could be mistaken on that one. But they had a great thing going. They wanted to redo that in the NWA. But then when Matt Cardona won the championship, it changed all of the booking. It changed everything. So instead of getting a reunion between Williams and Aldis, we got Williams and Smith, the Commonwealth Connection, which is a fantastic tag team. They looked great at the Crockett Cup. In fact, they're getting a shot at the tag titles at the pay-per-view. But it feels forced, right? This wasn't like there wasn't some partnership with Aldis and Harry Smith. Harry Smith came down there because Doug Williams came down there, and to prevent Knox and VSK from interfering at Crockett Cup. Now we have a match, Power Trip 2, Mike Knox, Harry Smith. That's the kind of like the background of the story, but really, I mean, this is just going to be a Haas match. You're going to see two big dudes in the ring together, and hopefully they just tear it up. I'm hoping to see Mike Knox's best performance in the NWA, and I'm just hoping Harry Smith is Harry Smith for this one. I see more of your comments. Let's get to some of your comments. Bobby Petito says he wants to see more of Caprice Coleman. Same, man. Caprice is great. Another welcome addition to the roster. Willie Bowen says Max the Impaler versus Genocide. That's another one that would be fun. Bobby Petito says, I'm looking forward to watching Captain YUMA wrestle tonight. It'd be nice to see him back. I don't know what long-term plans are. The Ill-Begotten are no longer a part of his future, so I don't know what exactly YUMA will be doing. Bobby Petito also says he'd like to see Max Impaler versus Kylan King. I think that'd be another good match. Paladin seconds the love for King. She's great. If you guys didn't hear, she was on Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM. She had a great interview segment a few weeks back with Dave LaGreca, and I believe it was Tommy Dreamer. And you really start feeling for her. And if you have an opportunity to go listen to it, because she was great. Did a good job of putting herself over, putting the NWA over, and we'll see what happens next with her. Bobby Machito says Gags the Gimps wrestled against Sal the Pal on USA last Saturday. Again, who's booking this shit? Seriously, like they're supposed to be a tag team. They were a tag team last week. What's going on? Willie says Tires versus rotisserie chicken. Tires versus a submarine sandwich in one sitting. Let's do it. One of those, the 6-foot sandwiches. Just go, Tires, go. Paladin says, doesn't the NWA show video packages explaining the history between Green and Mickey? I'm sure they can get clips from the other companies. But see, that's the thing. They didn't. They haven't. And that's where I find the problem. I don't care that the feud has spilled into Impact. I don't. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. However, let's not pretend that it doesn't exist. Let's just talk about it. Bring it into the equation. Hell, let's have Nick Aldis wrestle Matt Cardona for the World Heavyweight Championship at the next Impact pay-per-view. And I'm being legitimate and serious right now. Why the hell not? Who cares if it's in an Impact ring? There's so much cross-contamination, and I mean that in the best way possible, between Impact talent and the NWA. At this point, does it matter? OGK are wrestling on Impact. The Briscoes also wrestling on Impact. Mickey James, Impact. Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona, Impact. VSK, Impact. Brian Myers, Impact. There's so much crossover already. Might as well just run with it. And you look at some of the roster, some of these guys used to wrestle in Impact. And I'm talking about the Pope. I'm talking about Tyrus. I'm talking about Jack Stane, right? There's so much crossover. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Put the biggest, brightest light you can on the 10 pounds of gold. I don't care what promotion is promoting the event. Let's get as many people to see Cardona and Aldis. And then maybe at the next pay-per-view, we can get the Pope and Cardona or some sort of matchup we haven't been, shoved down our throat too much. Willie Bowen says, Coward Cardonas versus Mickey James and Nick Aldis. I mean, there you go. That would be a fine. They did that match at the WrestleMania weekend for Impact at the multi-card of madness, which I think was a great idea. But again, it should all just be part of the show. Like, let's just put it in. Paladin says mid-card Cardona. I mean, you're not wrong. Wrestling with the MMA says, lest we not forget that there's another power couple in the NWA. Tom and Camille got married this weekend, and I fear we'll get a 3-way mixed tag match at some point. Well, first of all, let's take a second to say congratulations to Tom and Camille. That's great, man. They are certainly a beautiful couple. And I personally believe that I hope they have a great marriage and that, everything works out for them. They seem like a really good couple. From what I've seen, with the cameras on and with the cameras off, it seems to be genuine. It seems to be real. And, that's why wouldn't you want that for them? They seem like very good, really good people, and I hope that marital bliss follows them throughout their entire existence. But Sean Mega says the Gimp is getting over, sadly, and that is kind of I don't. This is the thing, man. If this was Game Changer Wrestling, fine, go with the Gimp. You know what I mean? We're gonna throw garbage out there. If we're gonna put trash in the ring, go right ahead and put Gags the Gimp out there. But this is the NWA. The National Wrestling Alliance, a promotion that has stood for honor and tradition and legacy for been around for 74 years. 1948. Lou Thez would be rolling in his grave with Gags the Gimp. Are you kidding me? That's Billy Corgan. You'll never be Jim Crockett Promotions with shit like this. Yeah, I said it. Rick says that Gags style match was complete garbage. Exactly. Garbage. Paladin says, why do you think the NWA tends to isolate itself? Pure and simple, Billy Corgan is very aloof. He does not trust a lot of people. He doesn't trust a lot of working relationships. If you look in their time, I mean, the only group that they really had a consistent relationship with was Ring of Honor. That didn't last because Ring of Honor went out of business. You look at the NWA and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network. It didn't work out because there was a fallout. There was a disagreement. Everyone moved on. AEW sent women to the NWA, and then Tony Khan wasn't happy with the way that he was thanked for bringing women to the NWA. So again, it just seems like there's this unwillingness to work with others. I could be mistaken. I mean, I did hear recently that Billy Corgan wouldn't mind working with Game Changer Wrestling, which again, Luke Thez would be rolling in his grave. I hope they buried me backwards so you could all kiss my ass. Sorry. I know it has nothing to do with anything, but makes me laugh every time. Tom Latimer has a 60-second promo on NWA last Saturday, according to Bobby Petito. I heard that it wasn't such a good promo, and it's sad because Latimer has been pretty good at everything he's done in the NWA, and I'm not sure where they're going with him right now. And I hope they figure it out sooner than later. I don't care if you want to push him as a heel. I don't care if you want to push him as a face. But just give him that push. There's no reason that dude should be at the mid-card for anything. Sean Mega says, Billy has a bad history with Impact. But yes, he does. But now he's working more with them than anybody else. Like, look how many of his guys are in Impact now. I mean, his world champion is in Impact. I was about to say number one contender. No, Aldous isn't really an Impact, but most of the Cardona family is, and that's a big deal. His tag teams, two of the best tag teams in the NWA right now are working for Impact, OGK and the Briscoes. So there it is. Paladin says, I don't like intergender wrestling. I think it promotes man-on-woman violence, but it's a mixed tag team match. I can tolerate it as long as they keep the men away from the women for the most part. I don't think you're going to see, and again, historically, the NWA has never had matches like this, but I don't think you'll see much of an intergender wrestling between the NWA and, with Nick Aldis and Mickey versus the Cardonas. I don't think you're going to see that happen. And if you do, it'll be, like you said, very limited, where it won't be Matt and Mickey or Chelsea and Nick. It'll be the women versus the women and the men versus the men. Willie Bowen says, I would love to see Eli Drake back with the NWA. Again, I'm sure Eli Drake loves cashing checks. The money that he's making now has got to be so much better than what he was making in the NWA or even Impact. But, man, I miss watching that guy wrestle. He was so good. I was very fortunate to watch a lot of his career from about 2011 to about 2014. So about a good 3 or 4 years there where I got to see him as part of a tag team with Brian Cage as the natural selection. I got to see a lot of his singles work in the, before he went to Impact with Percy Pringle. And I really thought we were going to see Eli Drake as the NWA World Champion on more than one occasion, but I'm talking about 10 years ago when he was wrestling against Adam Pearce for that title. It would have been a shrewd move back then. It would make even more sense today, but I don't think it's going to happen. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Rhett Titus versus Mike Bennett. That would be a classic, a Matt classic. I definitely believe that. Paladin says Brian Cage is great. I agree with that too. He is so jacked. He is so muscular. Him and Hammerstone are two breeds, that are different from everyone else. And there's nobody like that except for Hammerstone, obviously. But Hammerstone's carrying MLW. And if Brian Cage was a free agent, he could go back to Impact. I think they would welcome him with open arms. He could come to the NWA. Again, that would be a place I think he could excel very much. I don't see him going to the WWE, but he's under contract to AEW. Tony Khan picked up his contract. We haven't seen him on TV, but he's on contract. So who knows? But I like Brian Cage a lot. I wish we could see more of Brian Cage. Fiona, what's up, girl? Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching I do appreciate you jumping on to chat. We talked about this in the past. I don't know why you can't get in here. Like, I've never banned you. At least I don't think I have. There's only been one guy that I banned from the chat, and he was certified, so I think I was okay with that one. But yeah, I'm doing well, and thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of it. I'm excited for tonight's Power Trip. This is the sequel, Power Trip 2, the Electric Boogaloo. I'm excited to see these matches. I've never seen Max the Impaler. I've never seen God, what was his name? I don't want to butcher it, so I'll pull up the graphic again. Alonzo. I've never seen Alonzo. So, I'm really looking forward to the show. I hope it's going to be good. I hope we all enjoy it. And again, this is the path to Always Ready, right? This is what's going to take us to the next show. And, there's a lot of implications on that next event. I have the card here, most of the card in front of me. Real quick, we'll go through it as we wind the show down. But the match that was just announced, Aaron Stevens versus Trevor Murdoch, the Aaron Stevens Swan Song. I don't think we're going to see Aaron Stevens actually hang him up, but who knows? Maybe we will. The triple threat tag team match, you got Ricky Morton back in the ring, teaming with his son against the Fixers. My pick to win the Crockett Cup in 2020. And AJ Kazana and a mystery partner who for all we know, that could be Scion. Then we have the ladies match between Natalia Markova, the Crush, with Taryn Terrell taking on Taya Valkyrie. This one could potentially steal the show. In fact, it might be my match of the night right there. You have the women tag team titles on the line with Kenzie Paige and Ella Envy, Pretty Empowered, taking on the Hex. Well, that should be a good one. Mims versus Tyrus. Again, that TV title hangs in the balance. So much positive could happen if Tyrus were to, step back into the booth and take a sabbatical from in-ring competition. But in order to do that, Mims has got to win. You got to win that match. You've got the National Heavyweight Championship match between my boy Jax Dane and former champion Chris Adonis. Adonis never got his rematch at Anthony Mayweather, so this is kind of an entitled title match. But let's face it, dude, Jax Dane is Jax Dane, and better than advertised. He is the Dane event, because he got to remember, guys, he's not a slouch. They didn't give him the belt because it's because he's been with the company for 10 years. He's a guy that held the tag team titles with Rob Conway in Japan. All right? He's a guy that unified briefly the North American Championship and the National Championship. Remember, he beat Tim Storm to win that North American title. He held the World's Heavyweight Championship, beat Hiroshi Tenzan for that title. Okay? He is the Dane event. He's a two-time national champion, and he should be respected. And, of course, the tag team match, Always Ready. You got La Rebellion versus the Commonwealth Connection. The women's title match is going to be a barn burner as well. Camille versus Killian King. This is going to be good just because these ladies are phenomenal in the ring. And, of course, the main event. Do they name the stipulation yet? Matt Cardona, Nick Aldis, World's Heavyweight Championship. That pay-per-view looks pretty stellar. Much better than the card for Power Trip 2, if I'm going to be honest. But we will not keep you any further because it is now 3:02, and it's time for us to all head over to Fight and watch the main event. And that is Power Trip 2 from Oak Grove, Kentucky. Thank you guys for being a part of the show today. We'll be back here on Tuesday to talk more Thursday. We're going to talk more NWA. We'll give you the recap of USA Power. We'll look more at the card. Any more matches that get announced, we'll talk about that as well. Until next time, we will see you guys at the matches. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are